Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm your host, Nicholas Sadowski. We have a fantastic episode today, one guest, and a great game. So let's get started. When we have one guest, we call it a feature episode. And this will be our first feature episode of the season. We've had him on twice, but he's only been published once because the first time my iPad died, so we lost all the footage. But the second time was great. It's on YouTube if you want to go check it out. But his name is Alex Versaw. He is just a fantastic guest, a good friend of mine, and just all around everything I'd want in a guest: responsive, funny, easy to talk to, just perfect. So we're doing a feature episode with him, a full 35 minutes of just 30-minute interview, 5-minute game. It's going to be great. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome the wonderful Alex Versaw back to Daybreak.
You flatter me, damn.
I try and boost up my guests.
It's a lot of adjectives.
Yes, and as someone, I don't know. When I read books, if they have too many adjectives, it annoys me, and I stop reading the book. Like
I had to quit reading one recently because it took a page and a half to describe a desk, and I was like, I'm out.
really,
It was. I think it was the Handmaid's Tale.
how long was the book?
I didn't fin. I got to like chapter 4.
But like, how thick was it?
I don't know. It was probably around like 300-ish pages. I heard it was a really good book, so I checked it out, and then I proceeded to get really bored. So,
Like, yeah, I use this analogy with all my friends. Like, if the book goes like, and Jimmy fell down the slimy slippery slope, and while he was sliding, I don't just he fell down the hill. I don't care about the adjectives. Just get to the point.
exactly. Sometimes a chair is just a chair.
Right. I don't need the stupid. I mean, people love that, so whatever. But I just can't sit there and just read about a page and a half of describing a desk,
Exactly.
which I don't understand that at all. Um, but yeah, so getting to our actual interview today. I didn't know this before a couple weeks ago. You do track.
I do, and you wouldn't have known that before a couple of weeks ago because I only started like a couple months ago. Uh, the I was intending to do it freshman spring, but then a little thing called coronavirus came to town. I'm
No.
not sure if you've heard.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, and then so all spring seasons got canceled, so I decided to wait, and then I was talking to Hunter Richards this year during lunch, and he's like, "You should do indoor track," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do indoor track," and then I really enjoyed it, and so I carried on to spring.
So what's indoor? I don't understand what indoor track is because
So it's basically it's track on a smaller track. So they have like indoor, they have like a track that's inside like a big gym, but it's like half the size of a regular one. It's basically just most of the everything's like half. So instead of 100 meter, you have 55 meter, and it is basically just regular track, but indoors for the winter. It's less competitive than spring.
did Connor do that as well? I know.
Connor Long.
Yes.
Connor Long did, and Connor and Owen both did indoor and outdoor.
So do you have like a preference, like one that you like more? Do you like indoor or outdoor better?
I like outdoor better. It's a better, and not to say that indoor's bad, but outdoor had more people. It was sort of a better community, and the coach, or at least my coach, Coach Mann, was absolutely awesome during outdoor. She can do no wrong. It was just it was also warmer out. I think that helped because in indoor we were doing 20-minute runs in the snow, and it was just fantastic. Honestly,
That sounds amazing.
it was great.
I have like I don't know. I did track, which surprises me, back in like 2 towns ago in Westford, and I didn't like it because I like running, but running on a track, it sort of bores me. Like I like cross country. I'm gonna do cross country because like I get to run through the woods and stuff that isn't like a flat terrain where you just keep repeating yourself over and over again. Would you ever be interested in doing like a cross country, or would you just stick to track?
So yeah, you're basically the polar opposite of me here because I am not a long distance runner whatsoever. I have like zero stamina. I can't go very hard for very long. I'm entirely a sprinter. Ever since like I did like soccer when I started soccer when I was in third grade, and I'd always be like, especially when I got mad, I'd always be like one of the faster kids on the field, like booking it down to get the ball. And I've had a bunch of people come up to me and say, "Hey, you should try out for track in high school." And so I tried out for track in high school, and I did pretty decently. But the the longest sprint I've done is 200 meter. I can't really do uh, any like really long distance for a really long time. Like I think my mile time's like low eights, high sevens.
Hmm. I think what's mine? Mine I think is 6:45.
Owen Comiskey recently, I think he broke 5.
He did. I don't understand how that's possible.
He's just kind of a machine. And the best thing about Owen is that he's really good at cross country, but he's also an incredibly fast sprinter. Like if I had to measure him up against people on our last season's team, he'd probably be in like the top 5 or 6 of all the sprinters that we had.
Hmm. It amazes me how people can actually run that fast and not be like dying afterwards. Like I
Oh, we all die
ran.
at the
Oh, because I ran. Actually, I didn't run on a track. I ran on the elliptical, which is directly in front of me. It's 6:45, but like I couldn't walk upstairs afterwards because if I did, I'd fall over. Like it, I don't understand how like Owen. I mean, he may be like tired, but he's not like destroyed. Like I don't. It amazes me how he can. Whoops, how he can do that. It, but like with you, I also don't understand how I mean I can sprint, but I can't sprint for that long. Like I'll sprint, but then
Me
I
either.
can't do it for like 6 miles. I can do it for like not even like a quarter of a mile. I
I
can
don't think anyone can sprint for 6 miles or even a quarter of a mile. We got actually our 4x1 relay team, which is a relay that goes around like it's 400 meters for each person, so it's a quarter mile. They're like they even they aren't sprinting the entire time unless you're Luke Loeffler and you're a beast. But uh, it's more like a very fast stride when you're doing that. It's sprinting only really happens in um, anywhere from like the 100 to the 300 or 55 if you're including indoor. At least when you're someone like me, I tend to run out of stamina at the end of a 100 meter. Like you'll see videos of me running, like when I hit like the 75 meter mark, I'll start seizing up, like I'll start punching together and trying to push myself farther. So that's something I definitely need to work on. I'm planning on running a lot over the summer. I've got a running
yes.
friend who I just found out we use the same route, so we're gonna start doing that together. Um, but I
Yeah,
haven't had a chance to run over the summer so far because it's been so busy.
right. All state for track and field. Yeah, all state for track and field was in Norwell. It was at our high school, and so Connor and Owen were here, and so there's a bike path that goes from the high school to that town, basically the town center. So we just walked the whole distance, and I'm gonna try and run that and get better at running because like I have
How
stamina,
long is
but
it?
I think the first section is a mile, and then that can't be right. Half a mile, somewhere between a half a mile and a mile, from the high school and the middle school, and
I think that's a
then
good distance to start out at. Miles are always good to start out at.
yes. Um, and it's you're running through the woods. It's a bike path through the woods, so it's basically cross country, except you're just running on pavement and wood instead of ground. But it's a super nice bike path, so it'd be nice to practice. And Faith and I are both going to do cross country, so we're going to run together when we have the chance. But what did you do? So besides like, do you do anything else besides running to prepare for running? It's an odd question,
Um, I mean, I did a lot of CrossFit in the last week because we were lifting boxes and furniture. Uh, but not really because when the season ended, I was going to practices and I'd be doing my workout at practices, and most of my workouts involved, dynamics, doing some strides, doing some sprints, practicing starts. And then occasionally after a meet, we do, I forget what they're called, but we basically do a bunch of stretches over hurdles, which absolutely sucked. But I don't really do like anything other than like running stuff.
Hmm. I would have thought that you do like yoga or some sort of stretching uh class kind type of thing.
I don't do yoga. I don't have a space to do yoga. Uh,
Um, I'm taking yoga next year. I can't touch my toes, and so this should be an interesting class for me because I honestly can't.
I don't think I can either.
I get like halfway down my shin and I can't go any further. Like I don't know why, but I just can't touch my toes. So whatever. But
I used to be able to when I was in like seventh grade, and I was really fit in seventh grade because I was doing like three different sports, and then I stopped doing three different sports, and now I can't touch my toes anymore.
what sports did you do?
I did basketball, soccer, and baseball.
When was
I was
this?
not very good at was not very good at baseball.
When?
This was a while ago, like seventh grade, and the baseball wasn't like an official league. It was more like a uh, bunch of friends got together and played baseball every once in a while. But basketball and soccer, I was in an official league for when I was in seventh grade. So it would have been when I was in Connecticut.
Oh, right. You weren't here in seventh grade. Or there
I
in
was
seventh grade.
not.
You moved in eighth grade. Got it.
I did summer of 2018.
Hmm. And then I moved after you got here.
Yeah,
Just
you moved. Yeah, you moved right after you. We shared eighth grade together, and then you left because you couldn't stand me.
yeah, no, I was just sick of you. Honestly, at the time I probably was, but I'm not anymore. I that the country just like destroyed my opinions of you, but they repaired themselves. Um, Solely because you're of your first appearance on this show. And wonderful first impression. Um, but yeah, but speaking of moving, I heard that you just moved and you're getting all set up now and everything.
So yeah, I'm currently chilling out in my room, which is an absolute mess of boxes and crap right now. Uh, we bought a house like a month and a half ago, and we needed to get out of the other house because it kind of sucked. It was 400 years old. Everything was breaking. Our neighbor was kind of a jerk.
Oh,
Uh,
where
the
now? Forgive me for asking, but where did you live before?
We lived like the stoplight in Sherborn, right across from Pine Hill.
Oh, I know where Pine Hill is. Yeah,
Yeah, so it was that house with the big hedges. Um, it was like right by the Heritage.
horrible restaurant.
I agree.
You that wait, you lived in the house.
It had big hedges. It had a big barn. It had a basketball court or half of a basketball court.
That was you?
That was me for three
That's a big
years.
house.
It's not an actual like one house. Like it's split up into four different like house complexes. So we because we were a family of five, we were living in the largest one, but we had there were three other people living there. So we had George, we had Kim, and we had John. Um,
Huh.
and so they sort of shared the area with us, which a lot of them were great. It's just when you have to share a very small area with a lot of people, it gets a lot of sort of chaotic. This house is it's nice. I like my new. I have my sister's. I'm all over the place right now. I like my new room. My sister's leaving in a month, so I sort of get the whole attic space to myself after that. And we got a nice little barn that we can renovate. Uh, and it looks like we're in this for the long haul. My dad's looking to get out of the Coast Guard, which means
Oh,
it
he's in the Coast
entirely.
Guard?
Yeah, he's in the coast. That's why I move a lot.
Oh. Well,
This is
thank
my.
him for his service.
I will do that. I think this is move number 7, house number 8.
Oh my God.
I It might be move number 8, house number 9. I would have to count, and I'm not going to do that right now. But it's it's a little weird to think that there's really nothing ahead, because very it like it's very likely that I'm going to finish school at DS, and it's also less likely, but also very likely that my brother could finish school at BS as well, which means he finishes school in one school system, which is insane because I've been to 5 and my sister's been to 6. So he's gonna grow up in a different world than we did. But
I thought we moved a lot. I've moved 4 times, but you've moved like 8.
It comes with the territory of being a military family, and honestly, it's like it happens so often that it's like people will ask me like, how is it to move, or like, do you like hate it? And I'm like, I don't really know what it's like to not move all the time, because that's what happens after every like 3 years in a place. You start to get like, okay, what's next, what's happening next, which was starting to happen in my last house. I was like, all right, this was cool, but what's going to happen next? Because you sort of get used to expecting that after a certain amount of time.
Huh. Do you still keep in contact with like your friends who you were friends with in other towns?
Only my last town. I keep in contact with a lot of my friends from Madison. So that was because that was the town where I really grew into sort of like the cell phone age, where people were starting to like get phones and start being able to contact each other. Before that, we were all like too young to really care. So that's the only town I really keep in most contact with, because I had the ability to contact my friends.
Do you mind the fact that you've moved so much, or is it sort of just like, well, this is the way it is?
The analogy I've always used is it's just like breathing. Like, I don't know what else happens. It sucks a lot of times, because you really do, like, sometimes you'll lay your roots in a really nice place. You'll have a really like tight group of friends, and then 3 years later, you kind of have to leave it all behind for something new. But at the same time, it's provided so many like amazing opportunities. Like, I lived in Alaska for 4 years. I got to experience that whole like gig in that whole like area, and it was really nice. And I also got to live in Germany for 2 years.
Germany?
Which was an incredible experience. I've
Wow.
I've done amazing things through the military and through organizations like the USO, and it wouldn't have happened without all the moving. So it's sort of a give and take type situation.
Can you speak German?
I used to speak a little bit, like enough to get me around a shopping mall, but I have not spoken it in a very, very long time.
Wow. I need to do more of these with you. It's not enough time. Oh my God. Huh. I'm learning so much.
I remember there was a specific instance in 8th grade, back when I wasn't so rusty, where Annabelle, because Annabelle's learning German,
Yeah,
she tried to insult me by calling me a pig, and she accidentally called me a butterfly instead. And I remember just looking at her because I didn't know what she was trying to say. And then she was like, she translated it for me, and I was like, yeah, you just called me a butterfly. So it's like little fun moments like that sort of spawned from it.
Okay. Definitely an interesting group of people at DS. I'll just use that adjective. When you grow up, would you be looking to go into a military branch, or would you not want to do that?
That's a really big question. I've thought about that a lot recently, because my
really?
sister's going to college, and so that sort of crosses my mind more than most. But currently, if I was to go into a military academy, it would be the Coast Guard Academy, because that's just sort of like the area I have most expertise in, I feel most comfortable in. I would not survive in the Army. I would not survive in the Navy. I would hell not survive in the Marines.
No, I don't the Marines are tough.
In the Air Force, you kind of have to be like good at math for, and I'm not good at math. So that leaves the Coast Guard, and it's on my radar. It's not my top pick right now, but it's definitely something I've been considering more and more and more. And I'm pretty sure that if you ask my parents, they'll say, of the three children, I am probably the least likely to enter the military, uh, because I'm not like about the discipline life. It's very strict, and I'm very like a free form kind of person. Uh,
I
but
am
it's
too.
definitely something I've been considering more often than not.
Hmm. Yeah, my brother is very adamant of going into the Navy. Um, a lot of my family was in the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy. My other grandfather was in the Navy. My uncle was in the Air Force. Cousin was in the Marines. Uh, and a variety of other people were in the military. Would you be going into the Coast Guard purely, if you were to, purely because your dad was in the Coast Guard, or because you're genuinely interested in a military experience?
Well, um, I think I'm interested. Like I feel like it's definitely a motivation that my family's been in the Coast Guard for so many years. I think it I don't know, but I'm a fourth or fifth generation Coast Guard if I go in. Um, it's definitely motivation from that. It's I don't think the military experience is really anything anyone actively searches for, because life at military academy is notorious for kind of sucking. Uh, but you get a guaranteed job for the first 5 years out of college. You get so many opportunities, and you get a chance to serve the country, which I think, if you're that type of person, is a gift in and of itself.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like military families. My dad's side of the family is definitely all Coast Guard. We're like going back to like the 30s. We've all been Coast Guardsmen. Um, and then my mom's side is entirely Navy. My great grandfather was in the Navy. He fought in World War II. We actually recently, while cleaning out my room for packing it, I came across a bunch of his like war stories that he wrote that apparently I had found my hands onto and forgot existed. So sitting in the back of one of my little storage spaces was just a packet of papers filled with all of like the stories he had collected from his comrades during his time on whatever ship he was on during World War II. Um, and then my grandfather flew planes in the Navy uh, when he was when he did his service, and he retired before I was born.
Is your mom in the Navy?
My mom is not in the Navy. My mom is a nurse at Natick Public Schools. She wanted to be in the Navy. She wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot up until she was like a senior in high school. And then she decided to go into biology at Virginia Tech, which is where my sister is going, coincidentally. Um, and after that, she went to Mary Washington and then became a nurse.
Wow. Your family is very impressive.
We happen to be either at the right place in the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time, because my dad was actually working right next to the Pentagon when it got hit,
Oh my God.
and not right next to it. I want to say more like a block away. And then my mom was called. She was working as a nurse at Arlington Hospital that day, and she had to get called in again because they had so many, and they had a massive influx of patients. And so that was our experience, and that was before I was born. But that was their experience in Virginia before they moved to Fairfax, where I was born.
I'm just trying to take all this in. um, Really, honestly, incredible. Your family does your mom does a great service for the country, and for students now at Natick, and your dad protects the country, um, and
I don't think he's actively involved in any of the like. He was involved when we were in Germany. He was actively involved in DoD, but now his job is basically. So he's a lawyer. So he got out of the Coast Guard for 4 years to get his law degree, and then he got back in. So right now he works in Boston, and his current job is whenever someone in Sector New England screws up, like is found with marijuana or has a sexual assault charge or something like that, he's basically in charge. Leading the prosecution of trying to basically kick them out of the Coast Guard. and so he oversees like the court. He doesn't oversee the court trials, but he oversees like the prosecution to try to penalize them for activities like that. When we
So
were
someone said
in,
that's still defending the country because you're protecting the institution of the Coast Guard from people who don't shouldn't be in the Coast Guard.
and when he was in Germany, this is the one I always like to brag about because it's so cool. He was the legal advisor for operations in Africa. So it was AFRICOM, which was Africa Command. And so he would basically, whenever we were doing like operations, for example, he was involved in the operation that caught the guy who did Benghazi. He was basically on standby, and whenever they needed legal advice, like on whether or not this violated a certain international policy, etc., he would basically give them his 2 cents, and they would move on according to that. So he was, from what I know of, for what I'm allowed to know of, because he's not allowed to tell us a lot of the stuff that he did over there. He's been involved in at least 2 major operations. The first one being the guy who did Benghazi, and then another one about something in Libya. I don't know.
Oh my God.
It's the one I always like to brag about because it's like the cinematic, like he's sitting there with all the screens. But I often annoy him because I ask him too many questions about it, and he's not allowed to tell me a lot of what goes on.
Wow. As much as I would love to continue this conversation, I've only got 7 minutes and 20 seconds left, and we have a game to get to. Wow. Yeah, Instagram has a 1 hour time limit. This has a 40-minute time limit, so it's currently minute 34. So, but I do have a game I want to get to with you. I'm very interested to see how this goes. It's one of my favorite games of all time, purely because the answers are stupid and the reasons for the answers are even dumber, and it's just awesome to.
I love games like that.
Yeah, it's called Playing Favorites. Basically, I just ask you what your favorite of something is, and you have to say what it is and why.
Oh God,
and they're not conventional questions. It's not like what's your favorite color. It's like what's your favorite letter? What's your favorite commercial?
Letter?
Yeah, I've asked that to people. I have a least favorite letter.
X.
Your favorite letter is X?
My least favorite letter is X.
Why?
Because who uses X?
And that's why I love this game. What's your favorite commercial?
It has to be the Geico Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack knocked over a candlestick one. I can recite that from memory, not because I tried to, but because I just saw it so many times. It was a Geico's homeowners insurance commercial that I just happened to see a million times, and now I can recite it from memory. And that's what I do at Thanksgiving dinners. That's my party trick.
Nice. What's your favorite YouTube video? Or video in general, but
oh my God, there's so many. I like honestly anything that's under a minute is generally pretty hilarious. If you go on YouTube and just find a video that is under a minute, then you're gonna be laughing your ass off. Excuse my language.
Language.
You can edit a bleep in there.
I'm going to. I did that before, actually. I'm not joking. Someone swore, and I actually cut out the audio and just.
Yeah, you can have a little smiley face cover my mouth too, like the. Yeah, there's. I like the all women are queens lightsaber one. That made me laugh a lot. I'll send a link to you after this if you haven't seen it. It's pretty funny.
I don't think I have. Please send me a link.
I don't really know, honestly. There's so many of
them. Mine is. Do you watch College Humor?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
They do a CEO series where there's this one, and Oreo CEO is my favorite.
I haven't seen that one.
I'll have to send it to you. It's so funny. It's basically stop making new Oreos, and I went to CVS, and I don't care if you like Lady Gaga. There were Lady Gaga Oreos. What is a Lady Gaga Oreo? What is that? What does Lady Gaga taste like? That's not a flavor.
It tastes like Lady Gaga. I don't know.
And I also looked this up. There's like Oreo double stuff, big stuff, mega stuff, and like they just kept going. Like How much stuff do you need? It's an
I had a
Oreo.
I had a friend in third grade who'd get two mega stuffed Oreos at every lunch, and he'd take the tops off of both of them and then smush them together to get a massive Oreo, and that's what he'd eat for his Oreo.
Well, there's this thing in the Oreo CEO, and he's going through it, and he's getting angry at all these stupid Oreo varietals, and then they go up to like, and the dodeca-tuple stuffed Oreo.
Exactly. I've
Enough.
seen the Tide
The
Pod one and the Jewel one.
Oh, they're so funny. They're genius. Oh my god, I love it so much. But like, enough. The madness stops here. Do you see? There is nowhere else to go. And for Alexander wept, for there were no worlds left to conquer. We done did the good cookie that everybody liked, and now we get to go home. And it's
That
just, I've seen it like 50 times. Yeah, but oh, I love that game for that reason. But unfortunately, and actually really unfortunately, I have to let you go because I actually have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to end this.
no,
But it's been more than a pleasure having you on, Alex. Every time you come on, it's been amazing. And
I enjoy it.
hopefully next season I'll get to have you on again. But it's been a pleasure. Tell your dad thank you for his service. And tell your mom thank you for her service in nursing and medical stuff and all that. Good luck with unboxing and all that stuff, and good luck to your sister going off to college. And I hope that you have a great summer and a great school year coming up.
You too.
Thank you. But yeah, so you can just mute and turn off, or you can leave if you want, but I have to end.
All right. See ya.
Thank you, Alex. All right, so that was my interview with Alex Versaw. An absolute pleasure to have on every time we've had him on. Yes, this is episode 5. Now, this could be episode 4, depending on how the studio episodes work. But either way, it's episode 4 or 5. So, but thank you guys so much for watching Daybreak. It's been an absolute pleasure. We have episode 6 coming up next. It's going to be a good episode, so make sure to tune into that next Sunday. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.